Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of Slamfire Radio. One day after our episode yesterday, this is quick. So yesterday we talked about the OIC with Tracy. Today it dropped the same thing she said. I think she said all the things that were on it yesterday, didn't she?
Yes.
Yes. What we didn't know is whether variants would be included, and it looks like variants are included. So,
right.
M16, M4, AR-10s, AR-15s, all that kind of stuff got included, and we got more details because now we have more details of this ban that came in. So for those of you who haven't seen the news and you just got home from work and you're like, oh, I heard something happened today, Trudeau and the Liberals announced their gun ban today through OIC, Order in Council, which means that it is effective as of yesterday, which was when they would have done the council thing. Included in this ban are, and these firearms will all be prohibited as of yesterday, which means that you can't sell, trade, transfer, anything. These firearms, they include M16s and M4s, which we don't have, AR-15s, AR-10s, AR-10 variants. So I believe I saw in there the BCL 102s, the Troy 102s, Matrix Aerospace, Stag 10s. Those are all in there.
They're not AR-10 variants, but whatever.
Yeah. Ruger Mini 14s, Mini 30s, Swiss Arms, M14s, M305s, VZ58s, CZ Scorpion Evo 3 pistol rifle is in there. CX4 Storm, the Sig Sauer MCX XCR, and 50 cal rifles and rifles with a caliber more than 20 millimeters. So when I said 50 cal rifles, anything with over 10,000 joules is apparently what they picked. That's the cutoff. No more than this.
That's funny because I had a RCMP friend of mine contact me today. He got the email from Ottawa or whatever, and he was asking me some questions and mostly just venting. He's quite pissed.
Yeah.
And he's like, so serious technical question. Do you know how to calculate the joules of a firearm? Like, nope. Like, give me a break.
That's going to be something, hey? Like, pull over at the side of the road and they're going to determine, like, hey, is this gun legal or not? It's like, how many joules did you got a speedometer? Like, what's the weight on this bullet? I don't know. I downloaded it. Should be fine.
You got to stamp your barrel with the caliber and the joules.
Yeah.
It's got to be like power factor, right? It's like an IPSC power factor thing.
Yeah.
Look, the only thing that makes sense is banning 50 cals because there's literally tens of millions of them in Canada, and they've been used in shootings basically weekly. So they
gas station crime, knocking over gas stations,
school shootings. You need a lot of 50 cals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
probably just trying to protect your wallet.
Yeah, I wanted one.
Now I did too. I almost bought one.
Yeah.
I wanted a 338. I never felt the need for a 50.
I had a 338. That was cool.
Yeah. So to calculate a joule is equivalent to 0.7.
Stop it. No, don't do this. No, don't. Let's not tell them.
Well, that's easy.
It's easy calculation.
Yeah.
It's just imperial metric, I think. I don't know how this works.
Because Canada.
Yeah. So if you have one of those guns on that list, your gun is now on house arrest, and you can't.
So it's in quarantine.
It's in quarantine.
My guns are in the COVID quarantine.
They're in the quarantine. That, yeah.
Yep. So what does that mean?
They also had anything more than 20 millimeters, they had all sorts of weird stuff. They had
rocket launchers,
and
mortars, RPG.
But the tube.
Why wasn't I buying this stuff? Why wasn't I buying this stuff 5 years ago? I had no idea I could own a mortar or an RPG. Are you telling me I could own an RPG until today?
Well, you could,
maybe the launcher, but not the ordnance.
No explosives.
I mean, think of your standard a rocket launcher. It's a tube. It's not a functional piece of technology. It can do nothing if you don't have the fancy rocket that goes inside it.
I've got grenades, but I mean they're 40 mil grenades, but they're just dummy rounds. So I don't know. Can I still have those?
You're criminal.
Well, I don't have the launcher, but I have the grenades. So,
those weren't mentioned.
I don't know if the ordinance was mentioned.
And they're not active. They're decommissioned, right?
No.
Okay.
No, they're live. There's nothing wrong with having
they're
them.
live. Okay.
Yeah, they're live rounds. They're just not high explosive. So.
Why don't we answer like some of the common questions that I think people are going to have about this? Because again, like there's a lot of people talking about this right now, and I think that there's a lot of information. I think our best use would be to help people out with wading through the information on this. So, can't take your guns anywhere. I did see in there that you can export your guns for a sale.
They did say that you can't export them to the U.S. as long as it's done through legal means, obviously.
I looked into these legal means, Kelly. I was going to send some stuff to my old college roommate when C-71 started talking, like, I don't know if it was before January or not, but when they first started talking about this OIC, man, you need a PhD to navigate your way through this system to legally export firearms into the U.S.
Yep.
There's a reason why there are people who get paid to import and export guns. Because
it's pain in the arse.
It's just reading, but they make the system so convoluted and intentionally difficult to navigate. I know everything the government touches turns to shit and is fucked up on purpose, but this was even bad for the government. Like, I gave up. And I was like, I just can't. I can't even. It's and I'm sure it's intentional, because I know that people who work for the government have arts degrees, and it's either work for the government or sell French fries at McDonald's because you're an asshole and you got an arts degree and you're too fucking stupid to get an actual employable education. So you go to the government because who else is going to hire you but the government, because you've proven yourself useless, so that's where you belong. But it took some skill to write this and make it so goddamn stupid and convoluted. Like, it took effort to make it this way. There's no way that it was done naturally to be this bad. I refuse to believe it. I challenge anyone to go in and try and navigate their way through the system of legally exporting a gun. Get back to me. I'll give you a case of beer.
The only thing that's going to happen is if I Run Guns or Aztec or one of these guys steps up and starts offering a service to like move these things. They're going buyers, to. I guess. They're going to. If they're going to fleece us on it too, because they can. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. Indeed. Another cool thing. Did you guys know that if you're status, you can still use your AR-10 for hunting?
Yes, you can. But it has to be on reserve land. And the provision that they put in there was until you can replace it. So what that means is I don't know. Anyways,
whenever you want to, yeah.
But sure, they're going to come get them.
Yeah, they will. But that had to be done because of the Indian Act and the treaty agreements. So they had to put that in there. And I know that people aren't happy with it, but it is what it is. So, and
I think it's just if they can put that in there. Are these really that dangerous? Are these firearms that dangerous? If it's like, well, you guys can't use them except the First Nation. I guess you guys can still use them for hunting and stuff. That's cool. All the rest of you guys, though, house arrest. Frankly, house arrest. Put them on quarantine.
The fact that they allow you to keep them, and the fact that they allowed people to keep, machine guns and submachine guns and stuff like that, it just proves the fallacy of the entire thing. Yeah. It's so dangerous, but keep them until you die. Total bullshit.
Well, we won't keep until we die because they said,
not this case, no.
Whereas with past grandfatherings, they have some of them, they gave you options to take them to the range and back. Can't do it here. And
Monty DeGleish brought up a good point. He says you can't export Norks to the U.S. They're Chinese made. You can't.
That's just one gun, though.
No, I know.
I get it. And I appreciate what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's absolutely right.
Stuff.
No Norks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yesterday when we were talking to Tracy, we were looking at the two options. So grandfathering, and then there's over here the buyback. So essentially, the way that this was implemented was actually they're looking at grandfathering, but it has to be deactivated at the end of the 2 years. Or buying it back, but they have to bring in that legislation to buy back. You can't, and then it's one or the other, and then but it's basically confiscation. That's it.
Yeah,
they're not going the old way where it was okay. Everybody who bought an AR before this date, it'd be grandfathered in. You would be legally able to have it, but now it's no. And
they're not super useful sitting in a safe. Like I appreciate that I get to leave it sitting in my safe over there, and it's sitting there. But I can't really I don't really have a use for a quarantined firearm.
You can clean it ever so often.
I suppose. Yeah. I can take the scopes off of it and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, so what options do people have right now? I guess the only real two options I guess you'd have a couple of options. Like one of the things I'm going to do is start taking some of the parts off some of my ARs, because I'm not going to take them to the range. So I will take those parts off and look to redeploy them on different guns, I guess. Because the nice thing is about the AR platform, for example, is that those triggers are being used in more firearms.
Yep.
So they are useful for more than just ARs.
Looking to get an SLR, same deal. I'm probably gonna strip all mine down. I just got my one AR put together, and I guess now I'm taking it apart.
Well, I don't think we should even mention the ones that they forgot. Although, on one hand, yeah, like they don't know. They have an FRT. They have a database of all these things. They know of all the firearms in Canada.
There's one that's conspicuously missing.
A couple.
Well, I know, but there's one significant one that most people have in their safe, even Trevor.
And they have talked about further bans afterwards. So, one question here: do we just surrender the lowers? We don't know right now. Like right now, so far, the lowers and the uppers are both prohibited. I think that's because they see like home manufacturing as a risk. But like if you're going to manufacture a lower, you can manufacture an upper. I don't know, or a magazine.
Yep.
Well, it's too late now.
Yeah,
we preached this when the whispers of C71 first came out. The second they talked about C71, all of my AR-15s were the registration certificate had been changed to lower only, and people, you included, kept saying, "I'm just going to hand in the lower." Well, let's listen. If it's registered as a rifle, they're going to want the rifle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I sold the upper. Sorry. I sold it. It's gone.
Well, then you should have changed the certificate, and you didn't. You owe us an upper.
No.
Well, you're going to have to cross that bridge when you get to it. You had months and months to change all your registration certificates to lowers only.
I have 30 days to mention that I just sold it a week ago.
Well, then you better do it tomorrow. Sell it tomorrow and change your certificate.
You mean sell it a week ago?
Yeah, everything is closed too right now.
Yes. Yeah. And
I have a lower registered with a 10-inch upper, which I no longer own. So,
yeah.
So, essentially, we're going to.
So we don't know on the lowers. We don't know. Do you have to surrender them? Can you sell them? Do you turn them in? Do you turn
lowers,
them in?
You can't sell them.
Encased in a 100-pound ball of concrete? We don't know yet. So we'll still have to find out about that stuff. Andrew was asking, what good would a prohib upper be? Well, it wouldn't be any good. I think they're just trying. You remember that where we got to the aluminum blocks that were considered AR lowers? They consider it just too easy to make the lowers, which is kind of funny because there's other firearms that are far easier to manufacture at home than an AR-15. It's not particularly it's not an easy gun to make. Sten, like anything with that bent sheet metal, there's tons of stuff that's easier. So an upper is no longer useful. If you have an AR upper, it's not like you can slap it on anything. The barrels you can do other stuff with. The forends you can do other stuff with.
We can take all the other parts and stick them into an SLR.
Yeah, or Spectre's going to make those straight pull things, and you could take, if you've got like a Gucci barrel, you could put your Gucci barrel on one of those and and keep all the other stuff. Keep your mags, keep your optics, your trigger, all that other stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's Dave. Okay. So solutions.
So I got one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Calm the fuck down. You got a 2-year amnesty, and there's an election coming.
True.
Everybody needs to calm down and stop flooding my inbox. But I'm sorry. Listen,
Poor Trevor.
no, not poor Trevor. Trevor,
He got
no,
inundated today.
not poor Trevor. Poor Trevor doesn't deserve any sympathy any more than anybody else. We're all stressed out by this.
Yep.
And I said some shit on Facebook today, and I got to apologize for it because I have to apologize. It was not the right thing to say, and I got some flack for it, and I got reminded of a few things, and I forget all the time for some reason, and I don't want to sound like I'm not bragging here, but for some reason there are people in the firearms community, right, that thing. And I never should have said I don't care. I mean, I do care. I care about everyone who thinks my opinion matters. I care about everyone who tunes in to listen to what I have to say, and it means a lot to me. And I certainly didn't mean to turn my back on anyone today. And I said, stop sending me PMs. I don't care. It's not true. I was venting, and I was overwhelmed, and I said some shit, and I shouldn't have. And I apologize. I took the post down. It's not really how I feel. And it sucks.
I think
all
it just
in it together.
Represents how worn down you are.
I am very worn down.
Yeah.
They've been picking at us and chopping away at us for years, and I've been involved in advocacy since almost day one. As soon as I got involved in firearms, I was like, I love this, right? I built a freaking room just for my gun collection. A collection of firearms that have done nothing to no one. I've done nothing to no one. And people have been talking crap about me and other firearms owners since day one. The government has lied to the citizens of Canada about us and about our guns since day one. Ever since it got into this hobby, it's been a fight. It's been a constant fight.
Yep.
It's because it's more than a hobby. For so many of us, it's a way of life. And we're constantly under attack and having to defend the pastime that we are passionate about and that we enjoy. And yeah, it takes a toll on you, and you get tired of being blamed for things that other people did. It's my biggest pet peeve. As a child, I'd come in the house and there'd be something wrong, and my mother would say, "Why did you do that?" She would never ask, "Did you do that?" She would always say, "Why did you do that?" So someone in the United States shoots a dog, and Canada needs to lose AR-15s. Like, that's the reality we live in.
Yeah. We've got 100,000 of them, had them since the 60s. No mass shootings with them. Let's ban them all.
The government today said we're taking assault rifles from Canadians. I'm sorry. I don't have any assault rifles. I've never had any assault rifles. Why are you lying about the nature of my guns? Because you're playing politics, because you want the average citizen to think you're actually doing something good. And leave it to the Liberal government to never piss away an opportunity to grandstand and dance on the graves of victims of a shooting. Like the bodies from Nova Scotia aren't cold yet, and the government is taking our guns. They've yet to release the type of guns that person had. They got tricked into admitting during a press conference that he didn't have a PAL. So fuck your gun laws. They don't stop anything anyway. They wouldn't have changed anything. This asshole didn't have a fucking gun license. So he was going to do what he was going to do anyway.
And he brought some in from the U.S.
Right. That we haven't had that confirmed yet, but people have been saying since it happened that his guns were smuggled in from the state of Maine. So why then are you attacking us when the current laws that you have didn't change what happened in Nova Scotia? It didn't prevent what happened in Nova Scotia, and your laws aren't going to prevent the next shooting. If this guy wasn't supposed to have guns and he had guns, guess what? The next asshole who shoots up a fucking school or a church or whatever is going to get guns too. Because I just
And that's the
fucking can't
frustrating
anymore, man. I can't.
That's that's the frustrating part, is that it's all based on its own failure. Gun control, there's no shootings. Well, gun control works. We need more gun control. If there's a shooting, well, all the laws that we put in place that we told you would keep you safe clearly didn't keep you safe. So we need more laws.
Yeah, it's never the goal. The safety is never the goal. You guys are missing the point. Banning the guns is the goal.
We're not missing the point.
It is the only goal. Yeah. Anyways,
why, Adriel? Why ban the guns if it's proven that it doesn't stop the shootings?
It's just a pure vote. This is just for votes, guys. You guys are trying to build logic out of this. There's no logic. It's to get votes. It's to get votes.
These are the people who run the fucking country. They should be trying to do things logically. You wouldn't run a private business this way. You wouldn't run a private.
The government is not a private business.
Well, maybe it should be.
The government is a horrible thing that is totally perverted in its.
If it was, each
directives.
of them would be fired and probably charged for some.
You'd never hire the son of the guy. It's like, oh yeah, this other guy here, he kind of sucked, but his son's coming along. Let's hire that guy. You'd never do that.
In a lot of companies where the son took over and drove it into the ground.
Adriel.
Let's talk more about, like, I think we agree. It's not going to do anything. This is just for politics. Let's talk 100%. About what people can do, what the effect is going to be. People in the comments are asking about maple seed. What's going to happen with that?
Okay, so right now we are, once we're able to get going and rolling ahead, we'll continue to do it. It looks like most events will be 22 LR now.
There'll be less semi-automatics.
Yeah. So,
and we don't have to do the spiel about the M&P 22.
No, because it's actually prohibited.
Regardless.
AR-15s you're not allowed to bring those to the range now. So you know what?
Can't shoot maple seed with my AR again.
Hold on. Sad. Is maple seed being brought up?
Why? People are asking in the comments about different sports. Someone was asking about maple seed, and I'm going to go on to service rifle.
Are 22s affected by any of this?
There is a 22 in the list.
My 22. It's specifically named. I looked down it and I found, my 22 caliber assault weapon is.
So maple seed is unaffected.
List. Yes. Maple seed's unaffected for the most part. Like people would bring centerfire rifles to maple seed. It could be shot with a centerfire. That's going to happen a lot less.
Yeah. So basically,
there's a 308 bolt action rifle in this list. Like that's how bad this list is. It's one of those rifles that you can scale it up to I believe it scales up to a 50, and they also banned the 308 version of it. Because again, like, this doesn't have to make sense. It's the Liberal Party, and they don't have to do it. Dave, how's this going to affect service rifle?
Just actually discussing that with Greg Delbridge, our service rifle match director, and essentially 95% of the people that shoot ORA service rifle here in Ontario, we shoot it with AR-15s.
Yeah.
So what's going to be so? All your AR-15s are now Safe Queens. Assuming COVID starts to open up, what are people going to use? Does it have to be a Canadian military firearm? Can you use like I don't even know what you would use. An M1 Grand. Can you use an M1 Grand?
So we can't use 30-06 on the military ranges anymore. That got removed this year. And we can't use 7.62 by 39 at Borden. So we can't even use SKSs. Essentially, we don't know what's going to happen. We're looking at the moment at maybe doing, and this is completely unofficial, maybe doing a modified course of fire that we can do with bolt guns. How that would look with military participation in matches, I don't know, because we started getting the military back out to our matches last year. So I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully we're gonna shoot some matches one way or another. But we may be using bolt action hunting rifles. I don't know.
Well, I thought there's got to be better options than that. Like if the M1 Garand is still good, that's an okay option.
Yeah, and we shoot vintage CQB with Garands, 308 Garands sometimes. Mm-hmm. The issue is how many people have those, and it just became very expensive to shoot a match. So, I mean, you can still use a Tavor, you can use a T97 until they end up adding all that, the WC 180s. There's still a ton of centerfire, 223-ish type of rifles out there that we could use. But the problem is a lot of people don't have them, right? So you've now got to go out and spend $2,000 to $3,000 to get one of the non-restricted AR-ish like semi-auto rifles. So how many people are going to be able to do that, right?
And that carries some risk as well, because if you get one of those and they add it to the list, you're just out of platform. Now you have another safe queen. You got another 2K tied up in safe storage.
Exactly, and that's the problem, right? Like, I'm probably going to go buy an SLR, and then they prohibit my SLR. But maybe I can shoot it for a year. I don't know. So we're going to have to look at different options for all the ORA sports, because CQB, same difference. Same thing. Most people that shoot CQB, we all shoot AR-15s. You always see a couple of other guns come out, a couple T97s once in a while, SKSs, although not anymore with the 7.62x39 not being allowed. Yeah. Tavors, stuff like that. But most people shoot an AR.
Yeah.
So
I think it's important to just keep trying, though, right? Because I mean, like,
absolutely,
it's going to remain a risk while the Liberals are in power. But why throw in the towel? I saw one guy post on Reddit today. He's like, "That's it. I'm selling everything. Bankruptcy, gun bankruptcy." It's like, man, like that's and
what they want.
Yeah, that is what they want. And I think that for some people, that's going to be the right path. I think for most people, though, just operate within the new rules. It's and keep in mind, we got 2 years, right? We got 2 years of who knows what's going to happen at the end of that, whether the Liberals get kicked out or what happens. And
the issue is, though, with a lot of these sports, I mean, even if we get out on the range this year, how many people are we going to have come out when it's like, well, you can't bring your AR, so
coronavirus was going to like really dampen events this year, anyways. Like I'm just trying to see the silver lining here. I'm not trying to like explain away this stuff. I'm trying to see what's going to be positive about this. And I think that we were going to see crappy event attendance anyways. This will give us a little bit of time to think about or modify rules. 3-gun, for example. Okay, no ARs. Now what? Well,
lever gun, bolt gun.
Okay. So you could go for a bolt gun and say we're still doing the long range. That definitely is still something we like to do. We're going to do long range, but now you got to like really minimize down the course of fire. Or you say, screw you, shoot what you brought. If you got an SKS or something like that, I guess that's what you're using. I think a lot of people, just keeping in mind the investment, will not be able to invest in another high-performance semi-automatic rifle to shoot a sport like 3-gun. So they'll be stuck with potentially just the SKS or something like that.
Right. And the ones that are still available are substantially more expensive. Other than
this will change market dynamics.
But yeah.
Bolt 3-gun is a thing. There is such a thing as it's like a PRS 3-gun kind of a thing where you use a pistol and a rifle. The other option is to use a PCC or something like that and keep it in close. So I think some clubs will opt to move their targets in and say, okay, well, it's like shooting an SKS that's something like 100 yards away, no problem, right? But there's a couple of options there.
We switched. I ran the vintage CQB matches last year, and we ran CQB with bolt guns and just changed it, mostly bolt guns, and lever actions and some older semi-autos, and we just changed the timings, made them a little longer, and made more headshots because it's
overcoming it up.
Yep, exactly. We're going to keep shooting, and I don't know, I'm not stopping shooting. Screw these guys. I'll be shooting with a musket if I have to.
Yeah, and I mean, IPSC, no change. Yep. They didn't put in the municipality handgun ban thing in, so that's not a thing right now. So no change in IPSC.
People were asking about doing 3-gun with the PCCs. That'll
you can do
be worked in.
It's possible. It really depends on the club, like whether they want to run that long course of fire with long distance shots or not. With a PCC, you can't make hits at like 300 meters.
No, you can't.
You can, but it's like it's not really within the realm of competition. So yeah, there's that. Just trying to think of other shooting sports. I don't think there's a lot of other shooting sports that will get impacted.
Messel here in Ontario, most of the guys that shoot that's Andrew's lot.
Yeah.
They shoot, that's like a 2-gun, so it's mostly shot with AR-15s. I think the event I was at, there were a couple SLRs, and everything else I saw was an AR-15.
Yeah.
IPSC rifle, somebody else is asking.
I don't have any IPSC rifle out here to know.
Trevor, do you guys do a lot of IPSC rifle at New Brunswick?
No, we've never had a sanctioned IPSC rifle match to the best of my knowledge. Richard and the gang at Hampton were hosting the first IPSC level 3 match, possibly in Canada, with interest from Europe. And they just canceled it today because, frankly, without an AR, it's not a viable match. Yes, there are some non-restricted semi-autos that serve the same function and purpose as an AR, but they're cost prohibitive. So we probably weren't going to fill the match with guys that have SLRs and WKs and modern sporters and the like. So unfortunately, the Liberals killed the Hampton goal and dream of hosting an annual level 3 rifle match.
I think they killed an awful lot of dreams with this one. Jessica points out that educating people is the trick, and winning over the misinformed Liberals with knowledge, facts, and a friendly introduction into the very safe world of law-abiding gun owner.
So here's the thing.
It would be nice.
Jessica. Jessica and I went to school together. She is amazing in every way, and she is not wrong. But here's why I'm so burned and jaded right now. The CCFR's existence is to serve exactly her description. It's a public relations organization. It was created to educate the non-gun owning public. We were never there to preach to the choir, and we were never there to fight the antis, but we've had to fight the antis. The doctors picked a fight with us. We ended up being a registered lobbyist, but the roots of the CCFR is to educate the non-gun owning public to get them, if at least not on our side, not against us, at least to let them know what the facts are. And like I said earlier, I've been doing advocacy since I got into this, and for what? We keep losing all the time. The non-gun owning public are complacent and don't care. There's a million issues that matter to people that I don't give a shit about because they don't affect my day-to-day life. And that's how the average Canadian cares or feels right now about my gun rights. They don't own guns. They're never going to own guns, and they don't give a flying whether or not I'm losing my guns. Yeah. They just think that the government's taking away assault rifles. Yesterday, they didn't know we had assault rifles, but today they know they're taking them, and that's important. The guy a while ago on the Campbellton Community Concerns page said that during this time of global crisis and pandemic, I am more than happy to let the government do whatever they want to do to keep me safe. This man is a sheep and would have ratted out Anne Frank in a heartbeat. Fuck this guy. And everybody like him.
There's a lot like that. Yeah. Unfortunately, Canada tends very authoritarian and slightly left, and this is the Liberal government is enacting what those people want.
Yep.
We could educate them. Like we could still keep doing that, right?
I've been educated. They don't want to hear it.
So some people are. I agree with you. Some people don't. Some people are willing. And I mean, we need to move the dial like 10, 15%. There's 2 million gun owners. A bunch of those gun owners could care less. It would throw you under the bus and let your handguns be taken and let your semi-automatic rifles be taken because those FUDs don't understand. So we need to educate the FUDs in our ranks that have a deer gun and duck shotgun on why, hey, my AR-15's gone, your BAR is next. So my AR-15 was the only buffer you had between the Liberals and your BAR, and it's going next. And we got to get some of those guys on our side. And some of the guys across the country, like I can mail my MP in Alberta here, and he'll agree with me.
Yep.
It does nothing. It does nothing for our overall cause. My Alberta is lost cause.
Alberta's not a lost cause. Alberta is still.
We're meaningless in the Confederacy. We have no power, and
it's a lost cause to the
influence.
Liberals because there's no Liberals out there. So you're not
absolutely
at the table.
Yeah.
So
that is a problem.
There is people like Jessica is a perfect example of this, and we need to continue to actually talk to people and bring people in. And actually, they don't have to actually like guns, but they don't have to like how like today happened. The OIC is totally undemocratic, and they can also agree with us on some things. I've been talking to people all day I've been getting messages and things too, but I've been talking to people who are non-gun owners and saying, listen, this is what took place and they're uneducated. So some of them are saying, okay, let's talk about this. Some are saying, I'm right now focusing on things like COVID, and I want that to actually be the focus. And I'm saying, absolutely, 100% agree with that. I don't agree with the timing of what happened and why it happened and the reasons why, and here are the reasons why, and let's talk about it later. And then I also had people who are saying, you know what? There was people who were in gun groups that were saying you need to, and I'm going, no, you're preaching to the choir here. Go out and actually do your own advocacy. Join an advocacy group. Take people to the range when we can go to the range. Talk to people. Educate people. Don't talk to me. I already agree with you. So let's turn that. I mean, because the thing is, conservatives, most conservatives are all in the same. We agree with each other.
I would argue with you a little bit because of conservatives. There are like conservative is an authoritarian right party, authoritarian on the right.
Right.
But the problem is a lot of them agree with this. A lot of duck hunters and
that's where
agree with this ban.
I'm just saying. I also posted today that gun owner, if you have a gun. Doesn't matter whether it's non-restricted, restricted, prohibited now, in your gun safe, you never use it, you take it out, shoot coyotes, whatever. We as a group need to actually ensure that we stand together as a group. Because if not, you're dividing and conquering, and guess what? You're screwed later on down the road too.
Slowly pick at it. Pick out the AR-15s. Pick out why do we have that 308 bolt action rifle in there? Oh, I don't know. It's what did Trudeau say? Military grade assault weapon. That 308 bolt action rifle was.
By the way, military grade sucks. So okay.
Yeah, was the Beretta space gun there? Was that military grade? Which military is running around with the fucking CX Storm?
Which military is running around with an XCR?
But just win people over, talk to people, educate them, and Trevor's absolutely right. Take a breath. People are upset today because we were expecting one thing or we're expecting another, and it's basically covering everything, and people are really upset about it today. And I can understand being upset and reactionary, but now it's time to take a step back, okay, regroup, refocus, work together as a group, and then also do some education.
What are some talking points that people should use? So let's say you meet someone and they're like, oh yeah, AR-15s. Yeah, it's a good thing that those things got banned. People shouldn't have those. What are some talking points? Just like some basic ones. We shouldn't go too complex. What are some basic talking points?
An AR-15 is not an assault rifle. Here's the definition of assault rifle. The government is lying to you about the definition of assault rifle. Assault rifles are select fire. They've been banned for decades.
Okay, but they don't care. They're black and scary. Now what?
Yep. So
define for me what a hunting rifle is. I literally just asked somebody this question. They said, we don't need these kind of rifles. All you need is a hunting rifle. What's a hunting rifle?
Yeah. Is that a Stag 10? That's a hunting rifle.
It is to me.
Yep.
Yeah,
the Camaro of 1968, amazing. The Camaro of 2020, also amazing, look nothing the same. But they are Camaros, and they do the same thing. They kill Mustangs. That's their job.
This is a Trevor I love.
The hunting rifle of 1968 and the hunting rifle of today still hunt, still kill deer, look nothing the same. Shit evolves. I grew up with a flat screen TV that I used to have to walk across the room to change to the other 2 channels we had because my parents were too lazy to do it. I was the remote. Okay. That flat screen TV, big ass floor model, wasn't flat screen, sorry, but the big ass floor model television is so big it had to sit directly on the floor because no shelf created in the known universe could hold it on the wall, right? That was a TV, yeah? Now I've got a 58-inch TV bolted to the wall, flat screen. They're both TVs. They don't look anything the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's my cell phone. Doesn't look anything like the phone with the rotary dial that I grew up with. Still a telephone. My point is, shit evolves, but it still serves the general same purpose. My 223 Modern Sporter launches a bullet out the projectile. So does my Thompson Center bolt action. A gun is a gun is a gun. The action doesn't matter. The caliber it shoots doesn't matter. Just because it looks black and scary like a 2020 Camaro doesn't mean it's not a Camaro. It's still a Camaro. It's still a car.
Yeah.
My black and scary, like if you get shot with a 22 that's painted pink, you're no less dead. It's not about what they look like.
I had this discussion with a coworker yesterday because I was showing them some of my guns. And as soon as they saw the AR-15, she went, "Oh my God, what do you use that for?" I said, "I would hunt with it in a better country. I use it for shooting. I use it for shooting paper. I use it for competition shooting. I use it for all this stuff." And then I explained to her that my other centerfire 223 is the exact same gun. It's just my AR-15 is ergonomically correct because exactly things change, things evolve.
It has updated ergos from the 60s compared to the old
exactly. I like the ergonomics on it. I'm carrying around my BCL 102 out in the woods. I like it a hell of a lot more than I like carrying around my stupid Enfield. Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay.
I'm going to raise the hand or talking stick. Okay, so one of the things that was said today on the conference was these firearms are made for killing. That's it, straight in killing people, and that's what people actually come back with. They're saying, okay, you're like a gun is made for killing people, whereas a car, it's not really relatable. Yeah, it is actually, but when you think about it, so these AR-15s or these guns, whatever they are, one of the talking points is, and I actually just posted it as well, is that, okay, you know what? I've done so many things. It's taken so much time, so much money, and you know what? I got my license. The same government is now banning these rifles, says I'm not able to keep them, is the one that issued me the license, right? Issued me the actual gun and said that I'm safe to have it. I'm trained to have it, and they're the same ones that are taking it away. A gun is a gun, yes, right? It's not about they're killing machines or whatever. That being said, also is we have some people who are saying, well, you shouldn't hunt. What are we going to say to those people?
Yeah, well, the designed for thing that you mentioned there, that's a super frustrating argument to have with someone.
I know.
Because the person giving that argument is actually ignorant. All guns are designed for only killing. What about this fucking Olympics pistol over here? That thing is designed to shoot the plates as they're going across. That's the only thing it's designed for.
Yeah.
No, it's designed for killing. As soon as you cross that threshold, you can't argue with someone without any logic to it, or there's just no point. And I think that argument, I've never successfully argued that point, that they are not designed for, that there are some guns out there that aren't designed for killing people.
But
because the other person is just ignorant. It's just a sign that of the ignorance of the other person. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they say, I think that all guns are designed for killing. Well, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You're not a firearms designer. You're an armchair critic. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
It's worth having that argument with people if there's other people around, because you're not going to convince that person, but it's not that person that we need to convince. It's the people in the middle who don't really care one way or another.
Yep.
But if you can point out the fallacy of the entire thing, that you are not safe, you are not any safer. Like, the country is less safe today than it was yesterday, because now the government is taking all of those precious public resources that could be used to buy MRIs, could be used to buy women's shelters, could be used to hire mental health professionals to help people. There are so many things that money could be spent with that would actually make a positive difference in the world. And it won't be, because all of these resources are being distracted towards something that isn't actually a problem.
I'm not sure if it matters, because a lot of people are, again, who are advocating this kind of thing are very authoritarian, and the government having more control and spending more is actually a good thing for them. The argument, the best argument I've been having success with today is the stats on AR-15s in Canada. We have just under 100,000 of them. 100,000 AR-15s. When was the last mass shooting we had in Canada here? Oh, we didn't have one. But the U.S. does not have licensing, registration, safe storage laws. They don't have the same stuff as us. It's not comparable.
But people don't know that, and that's the problem. When
It starts it up. They don't realize we have 100,000 of these things in country. We've had them since the 60s. They don't get used in mass murders. They don't get, because people think like, oh, the AR-15, that's a high risk item, and you say we've got 100,000 of them. No one gets shot with them every year. I'll draw you a graph of all the AR homicides and mass shootings in Canada. Here's a graph. It's just zero for almost all the years. There was a couple things in the 80s, like some gangster used a stolen one to shoot someone in the 80s or some shit, and that's it. And we've got 100,000 of these things. If the risk is real, because most people, again, the perception of risk is imbalanced. Like, people think that terrorism is a high risk. It's not a high risk. You're not going to get killed by terrorism. You're going to get hit by lightning or something, right? Yeah. So I think that mentioning that we've got 100,000 of these things, we've had them since the 60s, shit ain't going bad. It's fine. So where's the risk? There is none. There actually is none with the tool. We have licensing. What happened with this Nova Scotia guy? Did he use an AR-15? He might have used that cop's AR-15 after he shot her. Did he have his own? Well, not legally, because he didn't have a PAL. Must have had it like brought in from outside the country. Otherwise, they would have nailed someone else in Canada for loaning him this AR-15. So why Trudeau do this thing? Why is this a response to this shooting in Nova Scotia? Oh, it isn't. Oh, that's weird.
Never let a good dead body get cold.
Well, and I think it's a good point to bring up, because it shows that this is security theater. Like, after 9/11, we got to take our shoes off at the airport. Is that helping anyone? Did we stop anything because we took our shoes off? Fuck no, we didn't. We just take our shoes off now. If I think in the U.S. Do you still have to do that in Canada?
Nope.
No?
I haven't taken my shoes off since 2012.
I got asked at Pearson last year.
No,
like, we rolled that back. We can walk onto an airplane. We can walk onto an airplane with our shoes on. Are we going to be able to get our AR-15s back after we find out this is fucking worthless? Hey, guess what? We didn't get any like mass shootings in the last 60 years. How many years we got to go before we're like, oh, actually, I don't think it was the AR-15s.
My wife actually asked me tonight that exact question. She said, well, if they ban them all and you can't take them out of the house, what happens when everybody's on their best behavior for like 6 months? And I said, well, it's a good question, but it doesn't matter. Like,
we're not going to get into a mass shooting for a while, just because they're extremely rare. Like this last one we had in Nova Scotia, this is the biggest one in 40 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. There's never going to be, like, you can't build policy on something that is that aberrant and that much of a black swan event. You can't build policy around it.
Well, they do.
That's
the problem. Yeah, they're still bringing.
Well, no. To be fair, like, they had this policy as part of their election promise. They just chose to showboat and stand on graves when it happened, which they also did with Danforth. It had nothing to do with assault rifles, but that didn't seem to bother him that much.
And I heard after the Toronto van attacks, I heard people on the radio saying, oh, thank God it wasn't with an AR-15. We need to ban these assault weapons. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Of course.
The biggest mass murder in your entire history was with a van. so we have to ban rifles. Okie dokie.
We gotta talk more about like what people can do, because
Yep.
one of the things I was a little bit reticent about doing a show tonight. I wanted to make sure that we're talking about what we need to do going forward, and I think discussing fervently online is something that we need to do. We need to talk to people. We need to educate them on why this is a bad idea and why this is showboating. And I think that we've all got our different approaches on how to do that. Anything else that we should tell people about this?
Definitely join the CCFR.
Yep.
Absolutely.
They are taken seriously. It's the group to be a part of.
They've been on the radios before. They were on the radio and on the TV today.
They'll continue to be.
Who else is being interviewed?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being interviewed on Monday by a newspaper, but
Are you?
Yeah, but the real people doing the real interviews. Yeah, that's the Rod and Tracy show.
You know, one thing that just came to mind. If you're listening to this, you're probably part of the CCFR or something like that. You may also want to write into your local newspaper with a letter to the editor and say, this thing happened. Because most people don't know. Most people think like, oh, this Nova Scotia shooting happened. He killed so many people. It must have been with an assault rifle. And then Trudeau turns around and bans assault rifles. Oh, good job, Trudeau. You need to clarify the facts. Hey, none of these people were killed with fire. Hey, we don't even know if he used an AR-15. They won't tell us. And just like clarify some of the facts there, because I think that would go a long way in, again, turning the tide of public opinion, so that even if they don't like guns, even if they just are fine with us owning them, that would be cool.
Yep.
They don't need to seize our property just because they don't feel comfortable. That's one more comment I've seen a lot of people saying, if it makes people feel better, it's okay. It's like, fuck you.
Oh yeah, I just called somebody a sheep.
This is my hobby, my property. I'm not hurting anyone, and this isn't going to help anything. So I don't care if you feel uneasy that people have them. You didn't even know that we had them. Most people don't know that we have AR-15s. They're like, nah, you can get those in the States, not Canada.
Have a conversation. Have a respectful conversation if you can. And you're right,
if
Adriel,
you can. If you have the skills.
There's going to be people that you're just not going to be able to. And guess what? You're never, ever, ever going to be able to turn those people. I am the biggest turnee of probably all time here, right?
Yep.
So there are
You're practically a vegan once upon a time.
Not practically. I was. And I had this conversation with a vegan. Why are we talking about vegan? If I was a vegan, you'd know I was a vegan. Anyways.
Have I told you? I'm a vegan?
Have I told you? Wait 5 minutes.
Have I told you I do CrossFit?
Anyways. Well, there was a time I was doing CrossFit and a vegan at the same time.
Jesus.
Check all the boxes.
And anti-vaxxer.
No.
What's your pronouns?
Shut up. But that said, I did talk to somebody who was a vegan. It was on the Ottawa Sun Post where Tracy was in and Gun Goddess, and they were just lambasting people about hunting. And I said, listen, I had a conversation with somebody who was so anti-gun and anti-hunting and was able to get her to say, you know what? I actually respect where you're coming from and I agree with you. It's not what I agree with personally, but I can understand why you're doing it or why people are doing it. That is where you win people.
Yeah, the thing about other people is when people start saying, oh, those people, when you get to know those people, you start to realize that they're just people like everyone else. Like, you're not scared of Black people or Muslims or Jews or the gays or the natives or whoever.
Oh, I was gay for a while too.
Were you? Oh, wow. Look at you. What were your pronouns again? We were just getting into that.
No, that is so disrespectful. I wasn't. So, anyways.
But you were a female in college. That's all we're going to say.
Yeah, I was.
We all know that's when it happens.
But it's not serious in college.
No.
No, it's just college.
Exactly. So anyway, get out there and let people know that this is what you do, because all of a sudden when they hear this crazy stuff on TV, they'll think, oh, wait, I know Kelly, she shoots and she has these types of guns, and what what's going on over there.
She dated a girl once at UNB. I mean, can't be wrong.
It's so hilarious to be in a conversation, walking around with somebody, and they don't know Kelly is a gunny, right? And all of a sudden, they're talking about what happens, and I'm going, and I drop some truth bombs, and they're going, "Holy crap, man!
This shall not pass."
I didn't know that, but you need to be able to do that too.
Ospey's right. There are too many Karens right now. This is the age of Karen. Let me speak to your manager.
I don't even think it's Karen's problems. This is apathy, ignorance.
Yeah.
The Liberal Party's just trying to get votes. This is how they think they get votes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to lose friends over the next little while, but at the same time, I'm probably going to educate friends.
You got lots of friends.
I got tons.
You got
you've got one or two like falling off the edge, you know.
I unfriended like 50 people today that I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are, and I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, this is supposed to be short, and we're supposed to invite people on.
Doing the thing with the people.
That's enough.
All right.
Jessica, you're my new favorite too. She just told
Jessica, she could be a silver fox if she'd stop dyeing her hair.
Shut up.
Just your sideburns. That's all.
Sideburns?
You know what I mean? Like the thing, like by your ears.
Oh God, I need to come down to New Brunswick and just,
beat my ass.
Yes.
Sweet.
You'll pay good money for that to get into that in college too. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Oh, there was this time. Yeah.
Kelly's webcam, folks. $6.99 a minute, $1 an hour, $1 a minute, naughtier than most.
Believe it or not, I went to band camp too. So listen.
Oh God.
Yeah,
you went to band camp? Is that what you just said? That's hilarious.
It's truth.
I know it is. Yeah.
Fresh at Kane said, I had a friend of my wife's visit a while back, and she was talking about how dangerous guns are and how she can tell when someone's a gun person by feel. And I pointed out that I shoot all the time, and she was sitting on a stack of about 10,000 bullets.
Yeah. An arsenal. A
Very
stash.
Nice. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, yeah. I appreciate everybody on this podcast, by the way. Just
I appreciate you too.
I appreciate
Everybody
you too,
listening
random
anyway.
citizen.
Sorry, did you say something?
Somebody was talking.
All right. So
I think our keep-aways, our takeaways from this whole thing are don't give up, modify your sports to do what you can do, because it'll really piss the Liberals off if you just keep doing your stuff, and tell your friends what's up and post CCFR stuff on your page and talk to your friends.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Very much. Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
It's time to get a gun.